lost that race. And yeah, Trump was a factor, but there were a lot of other factors. So I learned a whole bunch of different stuff yesterday. So I thought that was a good thing. So anyway, I'll pass that along to you during the course, maybe today, tomorrow. But really interesting points and things that you may not look at as a normal, consumer of information or even a voter, on why people end up not maybe doing as well in different campaigns as you may think they do. Like, I try to get a pulse of the people and how they feel, and in primaries it's not as easy to get that pulse as it might be in a general, because only less than half of the people are actually talking about the actual primary itself. But in a general, and in particular a presidential general, you've got a lot more feel for what's going on. And like I said, I've had a lot of success making these predictions over the past, but now I've got other things to look at. I was schooled yesterday in some different points, and I will make sure I pay attention to some of that stuff in the future. Not that that matters to everybody, because anybody and everybody in the media is talking about the whole Donald Trump raid and whether or not it was legitimate, and what were they looking for, and why did they do it on this particular day at this particular time, and why do they wait, and why do they crack the safe, and why do they take the boxes, and we still don't know. And one of the biggest, again, I said this originally, to me the biggest, I guess, pet peeve for me is, well, there's a couple of big pet peeves, but one of the biggest pet peeves is not having a statement ready for the American people so that they can at least be given a reason as to why the FBI is raiding a former resident or president's residence, former president's residence. And this is not something that should have happened without the American people being at least given an idea of what's happening. Because it creates this really divisive us versus them mentality. And this is not the first time the FBI has done this. And then the people who are on the conservative side of this, they're and rightfully so, are demanding justice when it comes to other folks that they see who are not getting raided by the police. And I've said this from the beginning. If you legitimately find something on anybody, even if it's a former president or a sitting president, if you have evidence to go in and do something because you think that they're committing egregious acts, do it. Go get it. But the problem is, I don't trust you anymore. I don't trust the FBI. We don't trust anybody. Why should we? I mean, seriously. Why should anybody trust these institutions that were supposed to be watching the public's back from the beginning? Why should we trust the FBI? Why should we trust the IRS or any other lettered organization that the government now spits out? I mean, when you think about some of the people that have not been touched by law enforcement, the pedophiles that we know are on lists that hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. Why do you think that is? Why do you think? Because listen, Epstein was a multiple billionaire, and he had islands, and an island, Epstein Island, where everyone who was anybody went down there and partied. Everybody from Obama to Clinton to Trump. Why is it that we don't have video footage from any? This has been going on for a long, long time. It's like, why do we not know exactly what went on down there? I mean, the allegations are that underage, mostly women, young underage girls, were, I guess, raped, molested, sexually assaulted, however you want to say it. We don't know who did it. We don't know who just went down there for the sunshine and the beach and who went down there to have the sex parties. We don't know. Why shouldn't we know this? I think we should. Why don't we know any of this? Well, the obvious answer is that more people are involved than we probably would even remotely believe. Why haven't we found out more information on this? Why hasn't Hillary Clinton been called to task for having destroyed 30,000 emails in a private server? Why hasn't she been called to task for her having her campaign fund a made-up story about Donald Trump and the quote-unquote Steele dossier that 90% of the news outlets ran with for 5 years, 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency? From literally, it was the very first story on CNN every single night. And there's not a liberal out there, there's not a progressive out there, there's not a Trump hater out there that still to this day won't joke about how there's some kind of Russian collusion and how Putin and Trump are buddies. When that whole story was fake. It was a fake story. Nobody's paying the price for that. How in the world are we now sitting at a spot where Hunter Biden, who now over a year ago, because this story broke prior to the 2020 election, if you remember. This was the story that Twitter would continue to take down and would ban the oldest newspaper in the country from posting about it. This story's out there. This story's real. This story has teeth. Hunter Biden. I mean, forget about the sex and the drugs and all of that, which is a pathetic, he's a pathetic shell of a man. What about the deals that were made with foreign governments? Where we're finding out there's direct ties, there's proof that the big guy was Biden, getting a percentage of all these deals after giving these countries and these companies access to the White House, essentially, when he was vice president. How in the hell is this not the number one story every night? The president, the current president of the United States, and his drug addict, disgusting son made deals with foreign governments and foreign companies, and the president of the United States, like the mafia, got a kickback. Forget about Don being the Don. It's Joe Biden who's the Don. Yet none of you out there say anything. No liberals say anything about this. No Democrats talk about this. You barely hear independents talk about this. I'm not trying to say, I'm certainly not putting myself up on any type of a pedestal. But all I want when I get behind this microphone is truth and honesty in government. And if that means bringing down Republicans, so be it. If that means bringing down your hero, so be it. But on the flip side, you need to demand the same thing on all accounts. And if you don't, you are a phony. You're a hypocrite. If you're a sitting Democrat and you don't see what's going on and you don't want action taken against President Biden, you are a hypocrite. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're cheering when Trump's Mar-a-Lago gets raided, or you're cheering when information is posted on the clearly biased January 6th panel, if you're cheering and waving your anti-Trump flags because you feel like it's a celebration, that's fine. But you better damn well be ready to do the same thing when Joe Biden's involved, or Hillary Clinton's involved, or Swalwell's involved and his Chinese spies. You better be willing to do that. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. You're part of the problem. You're not a solution. You're a problem. You're a pathetic hypocrite. And that goes for everybody. If wrongs are being committed and crimes are being committed and people are being harmed because of it, and you shrug your shoulders because it's your team doing it, that's not okay. Or you turn the TV off or the radio off when it gets a little bit dicey. You don't want to hear that part of it. Or you don't read that story because, oh, well, that says something negative about my guy, so I'm not going to read that one. That's not how this is supposed to work, guys. It's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be the stewards of this Constitution. We're supposed to keep this republic moving in the right direction. In fact, we're supposed to build on it and make it better for the next generation. We have not, capital N-O-T, we have not made it better in any way for the next generation. Think about that for a second. Right? Your parents, your grandparents, and your grandparents' grandparents, somehow, some way, through it all, pretty much left society better for you and me. Are we leaving your kids and your grandkids a better society? Oh, no, we're not. We are not. We are leaving them a more biased, a more vicious, a more angry, a more crime-ridden society with less money, less resources, and certainly more division, less patriotic. We have lost that battle. That battle we're not going to win, I don't think. We're not going to be able to get that one back. 29 minutes after the